Kia ora te iwi, no mai, hara mai, and welcome to another episode of Bay Chat AR Plus Bay Chat. We've got two special guests on board today. We've got Mike Miller, who is a Waikiki legend and the local Gecko production owner-operator. And we've also got Pat Ray, our apparel manager.
Yeah. Welcome. Thanks, Marcus. Thanks for having me on.
Today we're going to talk about the Ty Mitchell Shield, which has changed hands. We're going to talk about Youth Development Cup. We're going to talk about all things Club Rugby. And we're going to talk about what Pat's been up to and what his job title is these days.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And welcome aboard, Mike Miller, the Waikiki.
Morning, boys. How are you?
Good, bro. Good. How are you?
Yeah, it's busy as heck. We just finished Ty Mitchell for the last back in Rotorua Boys High School in the middle of all that rain. You would have seen all that coverage, and was it definitely a challenge, mate?
Is everything all dried out, bro, or you still got some dry out?
I'm still soaking wet.
Speaking of mahi, we've got Youth Development Cup. You're going to be a busy man. This guy was the original OG of getting it created. You two combined together, social with live streaming and event managing. Let's get you guys and hear your kōrero on when it all first came together. We'll start with you, Pat. How did Youth Development Cup come about?
Yeah, it's a real cool story. When I was in charge of the community space, it was shortly after COVID, and we were all trying to work out what does rugby look like in a post-COVID era. And a couple of my staff members back then was Kendra Reynolds and Dan Goodwin. And as we do quite often, we hikoed off for a walk down to our local cafe mixture, and they come back, and the two of them had this idea or plan mapped out on a mixture napkin. It was a sub-union under 16s and under 18s rep competition, an intra-provincial tournament, and they had the whole thing mapped out on a napkin, and it had an $80,000 budget. And I said to them, where the hell am I going to find $80,000? And some people above my pay grade managed to scrape together some funding, and we threw the tournament together on the smell of an oily rag at Rotorua International Stadium, and we've never looked back. I love the whole concept. I love the way it talent identifies up and coming footy players from across our region. We find those gold nuggets, the ones that don't go to those schools that are already in the traditional talent ID program. And there's one boy in particular that I remember who's running around right now for the New Zealand under 20s. But he was, I think he was 12 or 13 years old at the time. He was at Katikati College. He was playing in the Western Bay under 16 teams, and he was just running amok. And now here we are. I don't know how many years ago that was, but here we go now. And Isaac is he's running around in the New Zealand under 20s, and he wasn't at the right school. He was at Katikati College. Mm. So, I think that's a fabulous story in itself. But, without the help of local Gecko Productions, we wouldn't have been able to reach our whānau all over the world. And this is probably a good time to segue into you, Mike. You and your gorgeous wife, Moana, really supported the tournament. Tell us how this has been for your organisation.
I'll just quickly jump in. I still remember, because I was at Thames Valley looking after community rugby there, and I get an email from local Gecko Productions going, I hear you guys are coming. Can you supply us a commentator with some local knowledge? So I got my good mate Scott Day, who was our junior rugby development officer, and offered him over. We didn't know what this all looked like, but we turned up on the day. So, again, take it away, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. I just want to reiterate what Pat said about the development of the boys and girls that are coming through. These aren't the superstars. We're trying to highlight this. It was sort of the layer that's set in beneath. And we're all about that with local Gecko Productions, about unearthing those next players. We need to see them, for the development of rugby here in the Bay of Plenty. So we're all about that. So I think this is our 5th year, Pat, to be fair. We're going strong, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Once we we got our 5th year, we really knew what we wanted to do with this, and we wanted a continuation of supporting these kids. And let's be honest, funding is an issue all around, up and down the country. We found some really good funders who've jumped on board again this year to support what we're trying to do. But not only that, we've unearthed some pretty average commentary, Pat being one of them. He's been hounding me for work up and down the country, so I've had to oblige, unfortunately. But no, we've unearthed a lot of things on and off the paddock. With organisers, we shifted the game over to Whakatane as well. We spent a couple of years there, and that was what it was all about. Lynn Preston, who unfortunately had passed away, her vision was to share these resources around the motu, meaning everybody would get to host, especially the unions, giving them the opportunity to host and do all these sorts of things. So it wasn't just about the game itself, but it was also supporting service providers in those areas, referees and coaches and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really good development in that space, I feel. And of course, we've been there along the journey. We've had some really good stories too along the way. We've seen a couple of people, like Pat just alluded to, have moved on to bigger and greater things. We've had people use our footage, clipped it all together to advertise themselves and teams across the world. So we've seen that as well, which has been a real benefit, not only to, and really importantly, the players, but also to our business, because, that's what we wanted to provide, was free content for these people, for these players to utilize, and even coaches and referees to utilize and advance themselves within the game. So we're hoping we're adding to what's been created over the years. We're hoping there's some value there. We'll continue to support it, mate.
One of the things that we're doing this year, where the tournament's being delivered slightly differently, and previously as Baywide Premiers Rugby have done all the hard mahi on the ground and have hosted the tournament and set up the venue and done all of those sorts of things. This year, Baywide Premiers Rugby Union segued to a slightly different delivery model. So we've brought on the Central Bay Rugby Sub-Union, and I think that's a fantastic opportunity to grow our local volunteers on the ground in the act of event delivery. There's some opportunities out there for great event management, and there's an opportunity, and I take my hats off to Lee Uarata in the Central Bay Rugby Sub-Union, who picked up this bag and have run with it, boots and all, and I'm really excited. I can't wait for next year. I'm looking forward to getting along without the stress and the hassle of delivering an event.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed I get the call up, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, to be sitting in a commentary box for a few hours each day.
You have to fight me for it.
Yeah. I'll fight you if I stay.
I drink line red, boys. I drink line red. That's all I'm going to say.
I'll give you a 24 box. Hey, that's happening Tuesday and Wednesday at Rotorua International Stadium. As mentioned, that's where it first all started out, and returning there after 3 years at Rugby Park in Whakatane. So looking forward to that. Get on down. If you can't, get onto local Gecko Productions, look at their live streams and watch all games out there. It's going to be absolutely amazing. They've got amazing technology. And the people behind the scenes just deliver a 110% product. So get in behind local Gecko Productions. And if you are running an event, get in touch with Mike and Moana, because they will deliver your event amazingly. Yeah.
And then let's just all do a small karakia to the weather gods so we can shoo this rain away next week.
I don't think we've had a Youth Development Cup without some bit of rain, bit of precipitation about. So yeah, it's not a Youth Development Cup without some precipitation. Hey, we've also got Mike. Mike's doubled up here today. He's the Waikiki legend, along with probably some others in his club, but we're giving him that honour today. Last weekend, Rotuiti, they've defended this for 3 or 4 matches so far. They travelled to Waikiki and they left without it. Not because they forgot it, but they got defeated. So, Mike, do you just want to give us a bit of a kōrero on the shield and how proud it was for the Yellow and Blacks to hold on to the shield?
Yeah, I will, mate, and happy to share that. I just want to add that photo there, my cousin Cricky Barrett on the right-hand side. Somehow I asked him to cut him out, but never mind. We're going to run with it. The Time Mitchell Shield has been played for over 100 years. obviously the holders of the shield, a little bit kaupapa around it, the holders of the shield put it on the line each time they play a fellow CBOP club, Rotorua club it is. And fortunately for us, even though Waikato has had a pretty, I'll be honest, not so flash season, the shield provides that opportunity to rise up and challenge for the shield, in which they did. And it just goes to show when on the day, and when there's an incentive like that, you can get up and beat anybody. So we're quite proud. The result was close, but that's how Rotorua Rugby used to be. That taonga we used to play for just about every game was fierce battles. And I think this week they're playing Nongata. Correct me if I'm wrong. It'll be another fierce battle for that shield. Nongata traditionally, and Waikato, we're traditionally stronger. Way back in the 90s, when I was playing, there was the top match, all ex-Western Heights High School boys who used to beat St. Stephen's, APAT, back in the day. All gravitated to those two clubs, and they're the strong ones. They always contested the time ritual, so it's definitely something the boys will lift again for this weekend. We get through this game, we get to hold it for the summer. So something we can treasure if we do. Obviously, we took the photo straight away once we got our hands on the shield. It's just what you do. It's how important it is to some of us old ones who are taongas ourselves, who remember the value of that shield, mate.
Just touching, how is the strength of the club at the moment? Is it in good hands? Is it on the rise? I've had a couple of kōrero about you. Your boys were going back there. How does it look like in your eyes currently?
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you, where there's always room for development, especially over here in Central Bay for all the clubs. Waka excluded, Waka's doing some really good things, top of the table. Our club, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we do. We have a sort of we have a development plan for the club in terms of the buildings and the sites. So we are currently going through that process in terms of securing partners and developing the property. We are the only club in Rotorua who owns our own land, so we're fortunate enough to have that ability to negotiate with council on what the plans look like. So moving forward, we're probably a couple of years away. In terms of the rugby side of it, yeah, we definitely need more junior teams, and our women's team back. We were champions there for a while. There's a lot of strength in our women's game a few years back. That sort of switched a little bit. So we're wanting to put more of those teams out there at the moment, and possibly more of the junior stuff. But I guess it's like any club. You need your administrators, you need your management, you need your volunteers to get them behind, and that's sort of where a lot of the clubs are falling behind over here, is that side of it. So if anybody wants to get in support, I'm going to put a promo here. Anybody got to get in support for a club? Waikato is the one. We've been around for almost 130 years. We're not going anywhere. Come see me, or come see my mate Bones, and we'll find you a job.
Nice. Nice. That's what it's all about. It's giving our local clubs the opportunity to throw it out there. Hey, Mike, we know you're a busy man, owner, operator, local Gecko Productions. We're going to release you off the line. But remember, if you've got a big event coming up, get in contact with Mike and Moana, most loveliest people out there, and they will not disappoint you with their delivery. So get in touch, local Gecko Productions, and they will deliver a fine product. Again, if you're after what's happening with the Youth Development Cup to see what they do deliver, jump on, have a look, and I can tell you, you will not be disappointed. Hey, Mike, safe journeys to wherever you're going. We'll catch up with you on Tuesday, and looking forward to another great Youth Development Cup with local Gecko Production behind the camera.
Thank you, team. Thank you very much.
All right, let's take a look at what happened last weekend in local club rugby around the Bay. Starting with the Baywide Premier Men's, and we had a humdinger here, Pat. Did we have a humdinger? I got this wrong too in the picks last week. It was Te Puna getting up at home by 34 points to 33 over Te Puke. We did say whoever was the better goal kicker on the day. I went with Fletcher over Tiahi, and it was Tiahi who got up and nudged that one for Te Puna. Gretton, wow. At half-time, the coaches would have been scratching their heads from Gretton going, we're in a dogfight here with our local rivals, Rangatawa, and something happened in the second half. Of course, 81 points to 17. And the Jordan Cup holders, Tauranga Sports, well, that cup wasn't on the line, but they did something pretty special. We've got Cashmore back at 10 for Tauranga Sports, and he did the damage for them as well, along with 14 other players, of course. With Tauranga getting up over the red hot Whakarewa at home, 17 points to 8, and the Mounties, they had the bye. Let's take a look at the points table here. Whakarewa, they're holding on to a slender lead there on 48 points. We've got Te Puke on 42. There's our top two already. So home semis there. And now the battle on for who will get third and fourth. Tauranga Sports on 36, actually. Greta and Maris have already sold that fourth spot. They're on 35. Unfortunately for Tapuna, they've left that run too late, sitting on 30 as per Baywide rules. They can't tabletop Greta in there. The Mount, they're gone. They're on 25 and Angatara on 2. So as we say, they're going to become the party poopers, Pat, and try and knock these other top teams over.
Is there a chance of Tauranga Sports and Greta swapping places? The results for this weekend?
Nah, because Greta have the bye.
Ah, okay. Right.
Yeah. So it's pretty much locked in, that top 4.
With 1 round to go?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Last week's Players of the Week, it's a joint one, this one. We haven't had a joint one. But looking at the performances of 2 players out there, Lucas Cashmore in the 10 for Tauranga Sports and Tiahi wearing the 12 for Tapuna. 2 guys that steered their teams into victories.
Nice.
And you probably would have seen these guys and seen them in action a bit, Pat.
Yeah, so, poor old Whakarewa, they battled away to get to the top of the table, and then all of a sudden all of the Steamers players from the Chiefs and around the country have all flooded back into town, and then they're getting tipped up. But, I'm really excited about the way in which these semi-finals and finals will pan out. As always, and we do, my family travels to Auckland a little bit now with our boy up there. The club rugby engagement down here is so much better than what's happening up north of the Bombays. I went to a game at Arataki a couple of weeks ago when Arataki was playing Katikati in the semi-final. The Bears were over on the number 2 field playing. There would have been 1,000 people there. You had to park at goddamn Bayfair. There was no parks.
Wow.
Our people are just so engaged with our local community rugby. The weather helps too, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much more engagement in our footy here than what I'm finding when I go to Auckland to watch a club rugby match up there. So, and having the likes of Lucas Cashmore and then running around in our club sides, it's awesome to watch. It's great.
So congratulations, Lucas and Tiahi, AR Plus joint Players of the Week. Let's take a look. Bat, do you want to run us through last week's results in the development men's?
Yeah, Tapuna 2 strong over Te Puke 74-12. Greta Maris 2 strong. You go over Rangatawa 62-7. Tauranga Sports Whakarewa development going humdinger just like their Prem teams. Tauranga Sports 2 strong 29-26 with the Marlins having the bye.
Quick look at that points table there.
Yeah, Whakarewa they're on top again. Tapuna, Mount Maunganui and Tauranga Sports round out the top 4. Greta Maris, they've also got the bye this weekend.
They're gone.
Yeah. So looks like the top 4 in the development is now down as well. So those players they'll be looking to protect some of their talent, keep them nice and fresh for the semi-finals coming up in a fortnight's time.
Most definitely, and it's still good to see 2 teams that won't make Baywide Premiers that will still get a good bit of rugby under their belt, and their clubs will be able to fly their flags proudly in the second tier. Baywide Colts, I believe there were a couple of defaults last week, or someone hasn't used their app, so no scores there from those top 2. Te Puke, too good for Tauranga. Interesting to see. Tauranga's gone from strength to strength, but Te Puke getting on top there, 33-7, and the Mount getting up over Gretton, 19-14.
This is probably one of the things that I'm most proud of in my time in that community space was reinvigorating, regenerating, and getting a Colts competition off the ground. My boys playing Colts rugby in Auckland. It's so good to see Colts rugby going around. Unfortunately, my poor boy struggles to get a starting spot. He's got a couple of New Zealand under-20s players in his team because they can't make Prems.
Yeah.
So, but watching Colts rugby run around, it's just awesome to see. So, really proud of the work. And, there was a couple of key people out at Clubland who supported the senior club working group back in those days to get a Colts team off the ground. Bushy, I'll make a special mention. Bushy at the Marlins, doing well to get a Marlins team up. Te Puke, they battled away to get a team off the ground. They struggled with numbers for a couple of years. Now look at them; their Colts team's flying high at the moment. So, great Maris St. Michael's, Taupo having a team. And hats off. We got an Eastern Bay Colts team running around now in Te Teko.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. You drive a couple more teams into that Colts competition. I think it's fantastic. Great for the participation, but also good for those younger fellas who are not quite there to play senior rugby yet.
Totally.
There's a great for them to play.
Totally agree, Pat. From my experiences of playing all my Colts rugby at Otago University, you couldn't play Prem rugby if you were 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Even if you were next level Highlanders, I played rugby with guys that went on to Highlanders, but they had to start at that Colts level.
Yeah.
It was just a no-no. You just didn't step straight into a Prem month. So for Bay of Plenty to be able to have this as well, great for our young men to be able to go in and play with other fellas at 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, and just segueing, right, how good is it that Tauranga Sports have got an under-85s team off the ground? And you see their coaching staff?
Oh, mate.
Jacko, Bryce Lawrence, Kyle McLean. Oh, my God, they're all just in there. What a great concept that is that Tauranga Sports get their under-85 team in the national.
Nice checkbook too.
Good on you, Jacko. You're doing some good stuff out there.
Yeah, good work. Hey, the Western Bay men's had their big final last week, and a huge congratulations out to Rangiuru, who won the Gilby Cup for winners of the round robin, and also the combined cup for the winners of the Western Bay Championship. There are medals and a core flute that will be on your way. They just weren't prepared in time because the finals rocked around a little bit earlier than everyone else. So don't be disappointed. They will be coming your way. But huge congratulations, Rangiuru, 26 points to 8. They've now got that spot to challenge CBOP for the Baywide to try and get their jersey back into Baywide Premiers. But how good. Arataki also being there, being the competitors they were, the silver medalists. And you watched them play 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Wouldn't the senior club working group just take both a CBOP and a Western Bay team to make it 8 teams next year? Just a thought. Only 7 teams now. Take 2 teams.
And still have a bye?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, anyway, I'm just trying to say. But yeah, 2 weeks ago when it was Arataki Katikati semi-final, wow, what a cracking game that was. Absolutely. And I had a chin wag to my old mate, Billy Russell, yesterday about the final last week. Yeah, even though they didn't get the win, he said, hats off to Rangiuru. They just wanted it more on the day, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He did mention if they had played the way they played in their semi-final, because they leapt out in that semi-final 19 points up within 20 minutes. He said if we had played like that, we might have had a shot. But unfortunately, Rangiuru too strong. And Rangiuru is not easy to win.
No, it's not.
So
not at all. No. Not at all. But yeah, congratulations to both teams. Hey, just to throw something in the hat, how about we sniff something over in the EBOP and have one from each?
Yeah, absolutely.
And have a CBOP, WBOP, and an EBOP. And boom, maybe there's a club over in Eastern Bay that are looking to maybe break away and come back.
And we'll just take all 3, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get through these results.
All right, you read these ones off, mate.
Eastern Bay Senior A last week results. Marata too strong for Te Teko 29-27. Paro too strong for Purupuru 24-10. Ruatoki and Oporiki battled it out for a 29-all draw. Waimana too strong, visiting Edgecombe 37-17.
And into the Premier men there, Purupuru, they went down to a strong Whikia Paro side, 43-5. Te Teko at home nudged Whakatane and Maris. That would have been a great battle, Pat, 36-33. And Oporiki, they just continue their dream run of pumping 50-plus points against teams with a 73-0 win over Ruatoki at Ruatoki. And it's not easy to win there.
No, and Tony Apple with the bye.
At Tiwi Black Park. And over into the Central Bay, Murupara going down to Nongataha 70-10. This is the one we were talking about before the Ty Mitchell Shield game. Now sitting with Waikiti, nudging Rotoiti 21-19. No score out of Kaukura and EP. Obviously, the scoring app didn't work there. And a nice little win there for Maris, nudging out Reparoa 28-6. And I see Reparoa sitting top 4 at the moment. So good to see that little country club out there fighting with the big dogs.
Yeah, Axe must have had the checkbook open for their centenary year, eh? Okay, heading into Baywide Championship results from the weekend. Waimana were too strong. Oh, no.
This was played No, sorry, you go you were.
Waimana and Gretchen battled out for a 12-all draw. Arataki too strong for Te Puke, 60 points to 10. Te Puna too strong for Portiki, 34-19. This was the game that was played last night. Gretchen Maris, 29 over Arataki nil. Wasn't it sideways, horizontal
Did
rain?
you not see Gretchen Park on the Facebook? They were playing in legit like a river. They might as well run out into a river and play rugby because there wasn't much green grass anywhere on the pitch. And a big congratulations to Awhul here, Ulo, who received her blazer. It was her blazer game for Gretchen Maris last night.
Nice.
So big shout out to you, Awhul here, for that achievement.
This is the Baywide Championship table. Whakarewarewa on top. There's something in the water at that club, eh? They've got their back of house in order, their men's team, their women's team.
And their Devo team.
And their Devo team, yeah. Whakarewarewa 45, Te Puna 36, Portiki 34. Greta Maris rounds out the top 4, 27. Kahu Pirates on 21 with Waimana, Arataki and Te Puke still running.
And unfortunately, Kahu Pirates have pulled from the competition. So sadly, their season is the flag's been folded up. Lee's folded the flag up for this year.
I think they've only got one more round anyway.
Yes, they have. Yeah, and over to the Baywide Premier Women's, Rangatawa. Oh, look, Pat, what is this? the battle of their last year's finalists, and it didn't come down to a nudge. We've got Grace Kale sitting here. She's as happy as Larry. 44 points to 0 over the Mount. Nongota, too good for Tongariro, 24 points to 10. And Ruatoki at home going down to Poroporo, 26 points to 12.
Yeah, I was at the Rangatawa Mount Maunganui game on Sunday, and being a former Marlins coach, I don't take losing too well. So I packed my sulking bag, took my ball and went home. Halfway through the second half, I was grumpy and sulking.
And we've had the captain and queen of Rangatawa Women's just walk through waving her hand like a queen as they get their season back on track. So we look at that points table. Nongota 41. I don't think they can get caught there, Pat, to be top off there. Rangatawa 35, Mount 32, Poroporo 20, Ruatoki 18, and Tongariro sitting there at the bottom on 4.
That top 4, whilst I think the positions are almost decided, I think Rangatawa, when we get to this week's games, I think Rangatawa and Mount Maunganui could potentially swap places depending on how results go. So there's still a lot to play for, eh, Gracie?
And a battle for that 4th and 5th spot there.
Yeah.
And Anita, a big shout out there to the women's comp. Brothers, it's bloody awesome. You're welcome. We love it. And this week's player of the week, I think we've got that wrong. Sapphire Williams. She's Rangatawa, I think. She is the player of the week. We've got Nongataha there. That may have been my typo, actually. I'm bad, but apologies to Rangatawa and Sapphire Williams. Sapphire Williams from Rangatawa is this week's AR Plus Wahine Player of the Week. So congratulations, Sapphire. She was instrumental scoring tries and kicking goals. So congratulations, Sapphire, on your efforts there for Rangatawa. The AR Plus Baywide Wahine of the Week, Sapphire Williams, Rangatawa.
Yeah. I won't be talking about that game too much.
All right, let's what's been happening, Pat? We'll just have a quick lowdown. You've talked about your kids. If you know Pat Ray well over the years, he's everywhere. His kids aren't far behind him. They're working. I did catch up with your boy carrying some cables for Sky at the Chiefs game here a month or so back. How's things been? What are the kids up to?
Yeah, both kids have left school now, so there's not much chance of me watching them play footy for any schools anymore. He's off to university, so we trip up to Auckland occasionally to watch him play. Livia's still at home, full-time work now, so she's an adult. And we're all happy as Larry. I'm still here, not working in rugby, just working at the rugby union. So it's been quite good for my personal refereeing. I've really enjoyed refereeing this year. It's good to get out and referee and not have to worry about dealing with the community aspects of rugby, because rugby people all over New Zealand are passionate rugby people, it's great to be able to go to a club and just court it all about the game that I'm involved in, and not all of the community challenges that are still there to this day. So loving my refereeing and loving coaching referees on a Saturday and a Sunday.
Nice. And we hear you've got over your fear of riffing in the rain.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about last Friday night, mate?
Yeah. There's always been a standard joke that I don't like refereeing in the rain. I invoke a clause in my contract, but had to get out last Friday and referee at Mount Maunganui College. Tried it high, jumped in their bus at lunchtime, headed over, and I tried my hardest to get the game postponed, cancelled, or defaulted, but horizontal driving rain, and tried and high to their kudos. They turned up here, they came to play, and they give Mount Maunganui under 16s a bit of a touch up, but it was fun.
Yeah,
it was nice, good clean footy and driving horizontal rain. It wasn't cold. No, it was a good time. So, well done to Trident High. Well done to Mount Maunganui College. So.
Nice. And you didn't take part in the manslide with your white referee shirt?
No, too old for it. Well, getting down's the easy part. It's getting up off the ground. It's the hard part now.
Oh, nice work. Hey, we'll touch on what you're up to of your role at Bay Rugby a little bit later. We're going to now jump into what's happening across the Bay this weekend. Let's start with Baywide. You know how this rolls. We take a pick, we take a punt of what's going to happen around the place. So first game up here, Rangatawa, last game of the season. The Papaka up against the Puki at Te Ariki Park. I'll start with you. You make your pick. How's it going to roll?
So I'm going to be controversial here. A couple of reasons. I'm going to tip the Papaka over to Puki Pirates at home. 2 reasons why. So Puki will probably be looking with one eye on next week. So I think they'll rest a couple of key players. Rangatawa, nothing to lose. Last round, they'll get up. They'll go hard. Then they'll win the haka, and then they'll put on an awesome feed. So I'm tipping Rangatawa by 1.
They'll win the haka because Te Puki doesn't do one. So there's one up already.
They'll win the kai as well.
Hey, I'm going to agree with you here. I've seen Te Puki slide 2 weeks in a row now. So I'm going to agree with you. It's away from home. They've lost 2 on the trot. It's hard to get up to get through it to try and knock that one. So I think Papaka might just get up, get their last win of the season here, and have something to celebrate. And the Lion Reds will flow through the club rooms all night long like they've won Baywide.
And not working in community rugby no more. I can say whatever I want.
And I feel like this is the Baywide final for Rangatawa. This is their final. So, I'm going to go with Papaka. I don't think it'll be by much, but they'll get up and they'll win this one. And send Te Puki into second place at the end of the round series. Over to Gordon Titchens, Mount Maunganui, the Marlins. Their season's finished, but they can be a party pooper here too for Tauranga Sports and cause some damage. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think, as my heart is saying, the Marlins, but unfortunately, Tauranga Sports, they got a couple of Steamers players back. If we just go down and listen to Waddy to see whether or not he's going to hook his players from the game or not, it'll decide on that. But I think with their Steamers players back playing and Cashy needing some game time, if he plays 60 minutes, then I think Tauranga Sports will be too strong and they'll get over the top.
Yeah, I think the Raptors will come snapping and snap a Marlin fin off them. I think this will be a day for Tauranga. They're in great form. They're going to be hard to stop. And we'll see a wee pingy fist pump somewhere behind a tree quietly. So, I'm going to go with the Raptors in this one, Tauranga Sports. And the last game of the weekend for Baywide Premiers at Poringa Park, it is Whakarewarewa versus Te Puna, 2 great whānau clubs going head-to-head. This will be a ding-dong battle. Te Puna found their form last week. Whakarewarewa want to end the first round top seed so they can host the final. Thoughts, Pat?
Whakarewarewa were too strong. I've seen them play twice this year. Very impressed with the way in which they're organised. They've got a good coaching staff. They've got their back of house sorted. The committee there with Marty, he's driving real good stuff off the field. Their women's program starting to hit their straps. The men's team's really, really looking really good. I think Whakarewarewa will be too strong for Te Puna. Looking forward to the haka battle in the club rooms afterwards. And, of course, the food's going to be on fire.
We definitely know there'll be haka battle on for this one. 2 clubs were passionate about their haka. I agree with you here. Jesse Mason-Grant, we've stopped doing top try scorers because it just got too busy and I don't have the time. But he was our top try scorer and we stopped 2 weeks ago. And he's in fine form. Hopefully the Steamers have been looking at him as a backup in case Curdy goes down. He's having a great season. I see Tarangi Fraser's back running at the back of the in 15. And they've got players that burn right across from 1 to 22. So I think the steam pudding and the tasty treats will go down with whakarewarewa. Te Puna will enjoy those tasty treats, just not the loss at the end of the game. So for me, Puringa Park will be pumping with a home win for me. And Greta Maris, they've locked in 4th spot. They have the weekend off with the bye.
Yeah, so they'll probably be all at whakarewarewa watching to see how they go for their semi-final next week.
Yeah, everyone will be taking notes there, and I'm sure. Let's take a look at the development men there, Pat.
Yeah, Rangatawa are hosting Te Puke Pirates. I think the Te Puke development team looks sharp. They got some really good young players coming through. They'll be too strong.
Mount versus Tauranga Sports and whakarewarewa versus Te Puna. You've been gone too long. We don't make punts on anything below Premier.
Well, I'm tipping Mount Maunganui development because Brendan Pickerell's been on fire for them.
Brendan Pickerell?
Yes.
Playing.
You not heard?
No, I haven't.
Oh, my God.
I was just thinking you were going to say he's going to ref. But,
Brendan Pickerell's been playing for the Marlins development, and he's been on fire.
Oh, you got a lawmaker out there knowing what he's up to. And whakarewarewa, they host Te Puna in the early match at 1 o'clock. Again, it's going to be a great day at Puringa Park, and Greta Maris, they have the bye, and unfortunately they've packed the bags for the season. I do hear that they're going to play Judea, though. They've got a Tonga that they play for every year, so they're going to challenge Judea for that. Over to Eastern Bay of Plenty. In the senior there, Opotiki hosting Te Teko, 1 o'clock. Paro hosting Matata at 1 o'clock. Kia ora, Marty. Big kia ora to you. All the best to your club this weekend. And if our producer can roll that upwards so we can see, I can see there's a Ruatoki and Waimana. So Waimana hosting Ruatoki, Edgecombe hosting Puropuro. And great to see, I've just seen the referee appointments. We've got referees right across the bay. There's no TBC.
No TBC, and they really scraped the bottom of the barrel for that Edgecombe Puropuro game. So if you want a bit of a giggle, come on out there.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Good work.
So I'm looking forward to it, actually. I'll give Patakura a call after this to make sure that the food's on fire.
Nice. Good work. Good luck to that one. And EBOP Premier Men's, Tane Atua, they're home to Ruatoki. The always on fire team so far, Opotiki, they're off to Texas to take Te Teko. And it looks to me like Whakatane and Maris, they might have a bye. And what's happening over in Central there, Pat?
What do we got? Eastern Pirates taking on Murupara Neil Hunt, 2:45. Waikite's hosting Nongataha. Does the Ty Mitchell Shield go up for that?
Yeah, I thought that was in brackets there, but it's missing. But that's going to be a humdinger.
Yep. And then Kahukura's got Maris St. Michael's at Kuito Park. 2:40. All matches kick off at 2:45 p.m.
And referees right across the bay in that one too. Awesome to see. Baywide Colts, Taupo home to Papamoa. Te Puke, they're hosting Greta and Maris. The Mount are home to Tauranga. And Maris and Michaels over in Rotorua are hosting Te Teko.
So at Blake Park tomorrow, that's a triple header. All teams playing Tauranga. All teams playing Tauranga sports.
How good. Let's just take a quick bounce back to that Colts one. Maris and Michaels, I think they're tripping back to Homingi. So that's out at Rotoiti. So Maris and Mike's taking on Te Teko at Homingi. I'm guessing there's probably not enough land space at Maris and Michaels to be able to have that game.
Okay.
So Maris and Mike's taking on Te Teko at Homingi Park out at Rotoiti on the beautiful lakeside.
Well, that's good for Te Teko too, right? Because it's less of a drive.
Yeah. I refereed a game at Homingi Park a month or so back, and it was Maris and Mike's. Might actually have been that match itself.
Yeah.
So how good. They don't have to travel as far either. So good work there. Clubs meeting in the middle.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, you, Pat.
Yep, Baywide Championship matches this weekend in the women's space. Whakarewarewa is hosting Te Puna, 1 o'clock Puringa Park on Sunday, and Te Puke Pirates are hosting Waimana, 1 o'clock at Murray Salt Stadium on Sunday.
And, of course, Greta Maris played that match last night, as we did. Big shout-out Afuhia Ulo with her Blazer match. Congratulations, staunch Greta Maris Wahine there. And over to the Baywide Premier, we make some picks here, Pat, so get your hat on. I've got Marlins and Papakas steering me down here, making sure that we make the right decision. Mount, they're at home at Blake Park. They're taking on Nongataha. this will be a game for the ages. It'll be tight as the Mounties won't want to give up third place. They will want to go up that ladder.
Yeah, and if they do sneak a win, which I'm struggling to see at this stage, Nongataha are in good form at the moment. They had that little hiccup a couple of weeks ago at Rangatawa, but I'm sure Jody's got his ladies firing for this game. They're top of the table. It's the last match of the round. They'll want to send a message to the rest of them. If you want the premiership, you need to come and beat us at our home ground. So Nongataha, they'll be too strong for Mount Maunganui.
Yeah, okay. So the Mounties, I think will get up, and that screen just disappeared. So the producer's probably fallen asleep on us.
I didn't talk about the other game.
Oh no, because he's taking it away. But I'll talk. Right, no, there it is. I'm going to go with the Mounties. I think Janet Kennedy, the Canadian, she will score the match-winning try here for the Mounties and get them up. So Mounties by 4 for me.
Yeah.
They'll just nudge Nongi in the last minute. Janet Kennedy crashing over with a pick and go to take it for the green and golds. Ruatoki, they're at home to the team that's just found some form at the back end of the season. Rangatawa, the defending champions. Pat, thoughts?
Well, which Rangatawa team's heading east? Who knows? Is it the top team or is it the one that doesn't travel very well? We'll find out. I'm picking Papaka. I think Ruatoki, they had a little hiccup last week and they're probably still a bit dirty on that, losing to Portaporo. So I'll tip Rangatawa, but Edity's probably going to kick my butt next time she sees me, just for that tip.
I'm looking forward to this battle. It's Grace Kale up against Taponamu Magavi, two players. I have the number 8, or the lock, the captain of Rangatawa. She hasn't got too many meat pies this year, so Poe's got a bit of up on her. But yeah, Rangatawa, I think, will find some form on the back end of this game. It's an 80-minute game. Ruatoki will take it to them, sting them, and then the Papaka will get the claws out and give them a wee nip at the back end. I'm picking Grace Kale to score it in the last minute to win this one for them as well. So I'm going to go Rangatawa to win it by 8.
How smudgy dirty is your crystal ball that you had to polish it to see that?
Hey, that's how it's going to happen. Poe's going to get a couple, and then Grace Kale's going to get one in the end and win it for Rangatawa.
We need Poe to come hit some form just at the back end of the club season so she can be devastatingly evil when she puts on a Volcanics jersey in a few weeks' time.
And then rounding out the Sunday, we've got Portaporo. They're hosting the girls from down south of the lake, Tongariro. Thoughts on this one, Pat?
Yeah, Portaporo to win at home. They had a good win last week when they tipped up their eastern-based sisters from Ruatoki and Ruatoki. So I'm tipping Portaporo to get over the top of Tongariro.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the same here. Tongariro, they just haven't quite found their straps this season. Maybe they got a bit comfy and know that they're safe for next year. But yeah, maybe it's a rebuilding for them as well. They've got to travel a fair decent way, but so do all the other teams. But good on Tongariro for putting their hands up. There's not a lot in King Country for them. So great to see them over here playing in the Bay. But yeah, for me, Portaporo will be the form team in this one to get up. And I think it'll be a 30-pointer dust up here for Portaporo.
And just for clarification, just be fair, I've been rubbish with my tipping this year, so please don't be listening to my tips if you need to. We're all over the place.
I'm sitting at 60%, so not too bad.
Oh, we're just as bad as each other.
Hey, we've got Pat on the show today. We've talked about Youth Development Cup when he first set that up in his event managers, community rugby managers role. We've found out what he's up to, what his kids are up to. Now let's talk about his new role. Well, not quite new, but newish. What your role is. You have a corridor with us.
Yeah, it was an interesting step. Aura Apparel's been around. Well, Baywide Rugby's had its own apparel company since just after COVID. Our previous provider went through some financial difficulties as a result of COVID, and the Baywide Rugby Union Board seized an opportunity and thought that they could set up an apparel company to provide good quality but competitively priced on-field, off-field, and merchandise to our own clubs and schools, whilst also benefiting community rugby, because it's at the end of the day, you know, the profits from all of our major competitors all go offshore because all of the apparel companies are all overseas owned. And, you know, the Aura Apparels, we're local. and all the profits get turned straight back into community rugby. So it's been challenging, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've been able to connect with the clubs that I have good relationships with my former community hat on. So it's been good. It's probably exactly what I needed. It rejuvenated me. I'm having some fun. So it's good to be able to have some fun at work. But, we've just had 111 boxes turn up today. So there's a crew of people in here. We're just taking a 5-minute continental break of unpacking all of those boxes for the steamers, the volcanics. All of their kits arrived. So we're just going through that. But no, I'm really happy at the new role. Thankful to the board for taking a bit of a punt and a gamble on it. So still got 6 months to go. Still got a long way to go to get to the target that was set for me. So I'm really happy. I've deliberately been leaving our clubs alone for the last 3 months because everybody's in full on field, competition mode. But as soon as the finals are done and dusted, I'll be back at hitting the roads, traveling around, knocking on the doors of all of our clubs, finding out what their apparel needs will be for the 2026 season.
You're wearing a bit of apparel right now. How nice is that shirt?
It's a bit of a dirty word in the office at the moment because the Bay of Plenty staff order hasn't arrived yet, but my stuff arrived a lot earlier. So I'm getting sideways looks from a couple of the staff in the office. They've got nothing to wear, but I've got flash new uniforms. So
how did that work out for you, Pat?
Yeah, it's just the way the flight scheduling went.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But don't worry, Tanya, your stuff's arriving on Monday.
Pat, if someone was keen on order apparel, what do they do? How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, look, probably just give me a call here at the office. The phone number, email is still the same, but orapparel.co.nz if you want to come through the website portal. Like I said, we are wholly owned by the Rugby Union. All the profits go back into community rugby. So that's what we're doing. And we're not just looking at rugby clubs. Working with cricket clubs right now. Their cricket season's coming up shortly, so we've got a few cricket orders on the go.
Nice.
And we're also just we're having a bit of a crack in the hockey and the netball space. So
I hear you've even been out and spoken to bus drivers.
Yep. Went out to talk to one of our partners, Uzabus, looking to do some work for a number of our commercial partners as well. So we do a little bit of corporate uniform, polo shirts, hoodies, those sorts of things. You've got one of our hoodies on. I've got one of the polos on. This is the sublimated version.
Can you get us some cheesies?
We might go down the cheesy hat with a little Aura logo on.
Nice. How good. And a Bay logo on the other.
Yeah.
How good. Hey, if you need to get hold of Pat, it's Pat's email. It hasn't changed. It's pat@boprugby.co.nz, or as you can see across the front there, jump on the website. Pat's more than happy to put a smile on, jump in a ute and come see you wherever you are. So
the phone number hasn't changed. The good thing, though, is the phone gets turned off at 5 o'clock on Fridays. So no more phone calls from people to tell me that the referee hasn't turned up. I love not getting those calls.
Nice work. So you know what to happen. Before we go, tickets are now live. So if you're keen for some tickets, no, we're not giving them away right now. If you want to purchase your tickets for any of the Steamers home games this season, jump on. The lady that looks after us just walked through the door. Buy your tickets. Steamers, last year's runners-up. How good. We're going one better this year. We're going to take the title. So come watch the boys live. And also don't forget the Volcanics. Watch the girls live. And, jump on BOP Rugby and buy those tickets.
And we got 5 really good opponents coming here. And I'm just going off the top of my head. We've got Tasman kickoff. That's the first game. Then we host Canterbury. Then we host Hawke's Bay, and the Hawke's Bay but that's a double hitter.
Yeah.
So we're hosting the women's team as well. So the Knicks have got the double hitter there.
Yeah.
Then we head to Rotorua. We host Southland there, and then we're back at the Tauranga Domain with our arch rivals from over the other side of the Kaimais, Waikato. So we got 5 really juicy home games this year. So. And the Tauranga Domain doesn't have big capacity, so if you really want to get on board and get in to see those games, get online and get those tickets early because they're actually more expensive at the gate.
And don't forget, we can't forget the Volcanics. We can't forget the Volcanics.
No.
They get to go to Whakatane.
Yeah.
How good is that? We tend to forget about our brothers and sisters in
yeah.
Whakatane, and they get to host a game there. I'd love to see a Steamers game, head to Whakatane so we can have all three of our major cities having a game.
The great thing about Whakatane is we secretly use this amazing catering company. Mary, you know who you are. I love the food that you provide. But man, do they put on an amazing aftermatch for our Volcanics girls. It's off the chart. You just need to talk to last year's Hawke's Bay Tui. They got on the bus absolutely bloated to the nines after that feed. So we love hosting games down in Whakatane.
Nice, but we just got to pray the weather goes because the poor girls go to Whakatane the last 3 years and the weather hasn't played ball. But let's just remember the Volcanics, they're getting ready. They've started their pre-season training under Ryan Serifano and his coaching crew. I'm excited about the Volcanic season this year, to be honest, Pat. I think
looking forward to seeing Poe and Suntor running amok.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
And seeing the climb up the ladder for the girls this year. So tickets are on sale. Make your purchases and get them behind the boys and the girls. And that's all we've got time for. Thanks very much, Pat. That's AR Plus. Big shout out to AR Plus for looking after the show and also our other partners across the screen. Take care out there. Remember, if you're drinking in the club rooms, make sure you find a safe way of getting home. Wrap up warm out there. She's going to be a cold Saturday, Sunday. Hopefully, we see you at Youth Development Cup, Rotorua International Stadium, Tuesday and Wednesday. Future Steamers and Volcanics players in action. I'm Marcus Howie.
Yeah, and if you're coming to Edgecombe on Saturday, no yelling at me, please. I'm Pat Ray.
Noho ora mai.